So I was visiting a friend this weekend and got to play Spider-Man on PS4. Well, now you gotta represent. Hey guys, it's your Bo the Doggo, and welcome back to Amorous. And before this video begins, are you interested in talking to me, having questions, or just want to chat? Check out my Discord server, link in the description. But now, we don't have time to talk, because now we are going to the library. At least I think it was the library. Am I even recording? Not recording the game. There we go. Oh my god. I am not prepared. I haven't even plugged in the earphones. Good job, Bao. Wrong save. Fuck! Or maybe I didn't save. Wow, good job, boo-boo. Yeah. Where are you, you little nerd? Oh, pretty picture. Okay, go! That young fella on right seemed interesting. He said he'd be heading to the library today. Maybe I can still catch him. Well, you promised him, so... Ring, click. Hello? What voice did I give him? The British, kind of. Hello? I don't know British, damn it. Hi, it's Bo from Amorous. Bo from YouTube, if I may. You mentioned I should give you a call today, and since I just rolled out of bed, I figured now is a good time as any. Bo? Oh, right, the interviewee. I'm glad to hear you call back. I just... Woo! Okay, I'm okay. I'm just on my way for the library now, and it's a great day for a Yippies! What's going on? A loud thud of the under end of the phone was followed by a muttering and grunting. Apparently I distracted him in the middle of something. What? Was he walking? Was it a bad time to call? It seems like you're having some difficulties there. No, I just have a few books that I've been meaning to return before they come overdue. So sometimes I think the only reason the library stays open is because of the fees I wind up paying. Nerd. I take it you're a fairly avid reader as well. Definitely. One can't expand one's horizon enough. I'm just about to head inside. Do you want to drop by and meet me in the lobby? Sure! Sure. Let me just get reasonably decent and I'll pop right over. Oh, you never told me when the reading was. I hope we didn't miss it. Yeah, didn't he say that in the last time? That, oh, it's a reading at noon. The reading is a little before noon, but I'll be there early. Dude, get your shit together. Reading? Oh, no. What time is it? Glancing at the clock, I saw it was a little after 10. After I mentioned it to Seth, he seemed to calm down. You! Sorry about that. I get a little too deep into my own head sometimes. The reading is at noon on the community room. I've got plenty of time. Good. Well, I got nothing planned this morning, so I'll just drop by since you'll already be there. Good plan. We said our goodbyes as I tried to not flinch every time I heard another book drop on the other end, and I hopped out of my bed to get dressed. Despite not needing to rush, I did feel a little concerned about making him wait. I scooped up some clean clothes and got myself as close as presentable as possible. Koma was stumbling around the kitchen, bleary-eyed and in nothing but his underwear, as I was heading towards the door. And where are you off in a rush? I'm just meeting someone. Get off my back. Found an interesting guy at the club last night and he invited me to an event. Ooh. First date, huh? Well, technically it's the third, but yeah, sure. Don't get started, little bro. I heard everything that happened last night when you and your friends got back here. Okay. Have fun, but I'll be expecting a full report. I promise, we'll dish about him later. Dish? I'm gonna wash him later. Later's good. Right now I need coffee and a shower. Kobe folded his beak back into the kitchen as I made my way out the front door. Ooh! I honestly hadn't been to the public library in ages. Between my work and Kobe's nightlife, I'd been too occupied to think about culture. Probably why I was curious about this feline. Not that my friends were dim, far from it, but they were more passionate about surfing, tanning and chasing tail than discussing the latest popular literature. Last night was all about trying new things, so I figured this was another tick mark of my new bucket list. His adorably nerd look may have also had some influence on my choice. Oh, you think? Oh, here's the thumbnail. True to his word, Seth found a couple of seats close enough to enjoy the reader, but not in immediate view. Everyone else was getting settled in, so I managed to make my way to the seats with a minimum of fuss. Seth beamed at me before turning his attention back to the front of the room. Oh, hello, Nick Kovac. Such a handsome man. The Drew has settled on the lawn just aside of the front door, glistering in the last few rays of moonlight before the sun crested the horizon. I didn't know who was being read or who the author was. The placard just outside the room had a few bits of information on it, but nothing that rang a bell. Seth clucked quietly. likely due to my confused expression. His name is Nick Kovac. He's one of my favorites for a light read. Blood was in the color of clouds, and the same unwashed crimson spilled in rivulets across the floor before him. It was a body empty of life, and life empty of meaning. Light read? What definition of the word light are you using? It's genre fiction, murder mysteries with a little thriller thrown in for a spice. He got away with words that really captures the imagination. The sound of boots, rattling the windows and shaking the shutters pulled him out of his rear. Too soon they would be up on him, and thereafter he would join the woman he discovered up on the paving stones. Yeah, it's clearly hard to not form a mental image. You've read a few of his books? All 14 of his current series. I found him midway through the second, so I got some insights I shouldn't have into the first. It ruined the mystique for me, and I haven't been able to bring myself to try to reading them. What? You said you read all the 14, but you haven't read them. What? Have you read them? All 14 of his current series, but it ruined the mystique for me, so I haven't been able to bring myself to read them. What? 14? How many have you written in total? Oh, about 28 or so. He's prolific, sure, but that's why he does so well. Two staccato shots rung out across the barren field, and a pang of heat and pain radiated from his shoulder. He held secrets best left unspoken, and his pursuer meant to silence him forever. You said you were doing some research for your own story, so how far along is that one? Even in the dim light, I could see a frown creasing in the corner of his mouth. He sunk back into his chair for a moment before whispering his response. Honestly, not as well as I had hoped. Writing is a very private vocation, but it makes it even harder when you stare at an empty room and a blank page. I admit, I am here in part to hopefully absorb some of his ambient genius in the hopes of inspiring myself to put the pen to paper. So, just like at the club, you were trying to gain inspiration through osmosis? Somehow, you make it sound more desperate than I intended. Sorry, kinda is. Why don't I help? Oh yeah, sure. Why don't I help? If you're looking for a surrounding board or just some input, I'd be more than happy to help you with that. Really? I mean, really? His eyes were wide with what I could only assume was excitement as I nodded. He was cute, intelligent, and interesting. Why not take some time and help him out? Maybe he'd even put it in me. I mean, maybe he'd even put me in the forward. This is fantastic. Why don't we go grab some lunch after this? My treat? I'll give us some time to chat above a whisper. Sounds good. I didn't have a chance to grab anything before I headed out the door. His grin was infectious, and I couldn't help but smile before he turned back and settled into his seat. He was really excited at the prospect. Who knew it would be that easy to get lunch out of him? Yeah, use that kitty, boy. Get some free food. Far worse than the iron bars and the rain-sickened concrete of the cell was the knowledge that escape would be impossible. Beyond those walls, he was a hunted man, and only within their icy embrace could he hope to live another day. Seth nudged me as applause rolled through the room. I guess I hadn't been paying so much attention as I thought. The two of us made our way through the crowds and backed out to the lobby. It was there that I noticed a small wooden table with a pile of books on it and the author's picture on the stand. Seth was busy chatting with some of the other attendees, so I found a place to sit down nearby. When he finally stepped away, he made a beeline for me. Why is this guy still here? Alright, there's a nice little coffee shop down the road. I got a couple of books to grab before we go, so I can meet you there if you can't wait for me. Apparently, Seth hadn't noticed the signing table or the author heading to the right direction. He did mention joining in his books. Secretly get the book signed, wait meeting there. Oh, we're secretly getting a book signed. Why don't you just wait and I'll be back here in a sec. Excellent! I'll just be a moment. Seth wandered off to the circulation desk while I man over to the table. Thanks for coming, it's always nice to see a good turnout. You're welcome. First time I've been to a reading. I don't get out as much as I should. Then double thanks. It can be hard to compete with everything else out there to do. What can I do for you? My toy boy friend is a big fan of yours. Could I get a signed copy of your latest book for him? Sure, that's part of the reason why I'm here. Did you have something in mind for me to write? Something encouraging, something simple. This was a hard one. Something encouraging. This is a hard one. He's an aspiring author himself. Could you put in some words of encouragement? Of course. Just tell him not to steal my audience. I have to eat too. He chuckled and jotted down a few inspiration words before signing his name with a flourish. After I paid, I slid the book into my coat and kept it out of sight for a surprise. Ooh! Thanks again for coming. I got another reading later on in this month. I hope to see you and your friend there. I'll mention it to him. Thanks again. Back. Hopefully I didn't keep you waiting too long. Not at all. Shall we get going? Seth nodded, and the two of us ducked out the front door into the street. I had to juggle the boot a little to keep it secure, but Seth was so engrossed in talking about the reading it wasn't too difficult. Nerd! The coffee shop was a little nice place. Cozy and inviting. It feels like I have been here before. We settled to a table after grabbing a coffee and a scone. Oh, scones! I want to make scones now! I haven't eaten scones for years, oh my god. I gotta make scones. Scones are so delicious! I barely had time to take a first bite when Seth produced a number of notebooks. My writing is a little scattered. I tend just to grab what I have handy to jot my thoughts down. What are you trying to write? I need to finish my coffee first. What are you trying to write? Well, seems like some... That would be so rude. Oh, I have some... Shush! I gotta drink my coffee. Be quiet. Well, seems to me, the first thing to do would be to get organized. You got a bunch of bits and pieces, but have you considered what you want to do with them? I was thinking of, maybe something involving the main, but I could also bring in a... That sounds like a no. I just don't quite have my thoughts together. It's not as simple as that, you know. There has to be some... Seth, it's okay. No doesn't mean there isn't something to work with. It just means that you don't yet have directions. Wasn't that the reason you wanted to do this? You're right. Sorry. It's easy to get lost in my head, I suppose. Writing seems to be a really important thing for you. What got you started? Reading mostly. I've always been a little bookish and, well, I enjoyed so much of my time in other people's worlds that I wanted to make some of my own. I assume you're not just a writer since you're still working on a book. What else do you do with your time? Oh, I play World of Warcraft. I'm not terribly fond of talking about it because it's embarrassing. Uh-oh. What weird shit are you into? Well, now you have to tell me. I'm a trust fund kid. My parents have been fairly well off financially and they set aside a sizable sum for me when I got older. That will explain why you're able to live in town. I was sort of brought along to the city with a remarriage when I was younger, and I've also been pretty fortunate in that regard. Not to be too forward, but you don't seem terribly happy being idle. Well, my work had eaten up quite a bit of my free time, so when that obligation vanished, I just felt kind of lost. I'm glad my little brother got me out of the house at least. He sounds like an equally interesting person. In a different way, I suppose. Oh boy, he is. He's a character, but I love him. We went on for a bit longer, chatting about this and that, until my coffee was gone, and we turned our attention to the pile of notes Seth had brought. I got an idea. You're right in that I spend a little too much time in my own head. Maybe what I need is some structure. Isn't that what my character said before? Sounds good. What did you have in mind then? Since I can't get to settle on something, why don't you tell me what I should write? What? Am I going to be the co-writer? Woohoo! I'm going to call it Amorous. Really? With all your talk about muses and inspiration? I think of it as an exercise. You give me a framework to build from and I'll write a story. It'll give me some focus and keep me from wandering. Could work. Alright, I suppose that makes sense. Why me though? Because you're hot! Because then we'll both have some interest in the final piece. That will keep it all more likely that you will keep on humoring me. Fair enough. Where should we start? At the beginning? What did you think? What kind of genre should I write? Erotic. No! Romance. What about a romance novel? I know they can be cheesy, but maybe something with a little drama and action thrown in. Romance? I mean, I'm not really, I suppose... I can give it a shot. Okay, how do you see the main character? Is there some definition feature you like? Begrudgingly evolved. No, he should be like me. Deeply flawed. Was begrudgingly evolved? I have to look that up. Begrudgingly evolved. Don't mind me. Begrudgingly. Ah, okay. So it's also hesitantly. Ah, okay. Should be like me. Begrudgingly evolved. Like I am with this game. I've always been fascinated with characters forced, cajoled, or otherwise driven into the story. People who don't want to be there, or have no business being there, but simply have no choice to ignore it. Yeah, I can enjoy that stuff too, actually. An interesting archetype indeed. Though I hope you aren't implying something through it. No. I'm getting some great ideas here. I told you that you make an excellent muse. Thank you. Glad I can help. That said, I got a question for you this time. Oh? Suddenly the interviewer becomes the interviewee? My, how the table have turned. Amazing. It's quite a plot twist. But anyway, well, I was wondering, what do you plan on doing with the story after you're done? I hadn't really considered it. It's probably something I shouldn't even worry about until it's written. I think you should keep it in mind. Ponder it. I also think that you should keep those notebooks away. Let the story build itself, and you'll be less inclined to overwhelm yourself. Fair enough, but I reserve the right to call you the instant it's done. I need your eyes on it as soon as it's out of the printer. It's a deal. Looking at the clock, I noticed was already spent quite a time chatting back and forth. Despite not having a set schedule on my own, I figured Seth might have other places to go. Well, it's afternoon already and I don't want to keep you. I mean, if you're busy. I should get to it. The fresher ideas are in my head, the more likely I'll be able to actually keep with it. He smiled up at me for a moment before we both began clearing the table, standing up and tucking in our chairs. Bo, thanks again for this. It's the most motivated I've been in quite a while, and it was a good time spending time with you. Well, it was a date, so I hope you enjoyed it. Boy, same here. You're a very interesting person to be around, Seth. It's a nice change of pace. What do you mean with that? Isn't Kobe good enough for you? What? What? Only interesting? Look, you made him upset, Bo. Good job, idiot. No. Not at all. You're also extremely adorable and sweet when you aren't wrapped around in your own thoughts. There's a smile for me. Yeah, boy. I'll still take the compliment. Thanks. You're welcome. You got my number, right? Give me a call if you want any questions or if you just like to chat. I think so. You called me, right? Let me just write it down so you don't lose it. I scribbled it down for him. And he put it in his pocket, smiling happily at the offer as he checked his notebook was secure one last time. I will make ample, but hopefully not burdensome use of your opinion, Bo. Thank you. Oh, I almost forgot. Bum bum bum. I got this for you. I know you like that author, and I thought it would be a nice gift. When I handed him the novel, his eyes went wide. A smile spread across his face as an instant as he looked back up at me, beaming. You got me a signed copy? I didn't even realize he was doing signings. Bo, this is the best thing I've ever gotten. Before I could react, he leaped up against me, wrapping his arm around me and pressing his lips to mine. We both began to blush after the moment of acceleration began to fade. He quickly pulled away and glanced down towards the floor. Are you a homosexual? What? Ew! I mean, nothing. I've cut that out. Sorry, I didn't mean... Kissing on the cheek, keeping him on the lip. Forgive him. Ew! No, I don't wanna do this again. Kiss my lips! Oh, please. Don't be sorry. I stepped forward and pressed my lips gently against his, giving his cheek a soft stroke before pulling away. A barely audible purr rumbled from his chest before he turned his head to cough and regain his composure. Oh yeah, he's a cat, so he purrs. That's so adorable. I'll have to remember not to let you go so soon next time. And now it's gone. Well, I need to get going. Got to keep the story fresh. We said our goodbyes, parting after a final lingering hug. As I watched him leave, I felt a sense of happiness that I hadn't experienced in the past few weeks. Writing was a very important thing to him, and in the span of a cup of coffee and a cake, he wanted me to be a part of that. Amazing. I hadn't been that important of a person to anyone but Kobe recently. What? You are lying. What about Sky and Jax? Wow. Work kept me busy, but without that, I began to realize that I wanted something more. Maybe this could be that something. Either way, I need to get ready with some juicy gossip when I got home, or Kobe will never stop pestering me. Okay guys, that was the first date with Seth. So In the next episode, I guess we'll talk to him and see if he finished his book. Because as I know, as it's been with the other characters, it's been meeting the character first time, having a first date, having a second date, and then there's the last date where they get to do the stuff that we're all waiting for them to do. The fucking, I mean. Demonetized! Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. That will make me very happy. And if you haven't already and want to see my other videos, please subscribe. Yeah, and also check out my Discord server. Again, link in the description. And I'll talk to you there, guys. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye. Oh, sound. Oh, sound.